All right, before we go, and we'll hopefully get back at you again this week and talk about some other things that we got going on, I want to give you some quarantine viewing for the week. You know, some stuff to keep you tided over after you get done listening to this episode of In The Kliq. And with us rapidly approaching WrestleMania, I've jotted down 5 of my favorite WrestleManias. And that is starting with WrestleMania 5, where the Mega Powers explode. One of my all-time favorite WrestleManias to watch. I watched it over and over and over again as a kid, just hoping every time that somehow the outcome would be different and Macho Man Randy Savage would beat Hulk Hogan in the main event. Never happened, but you know, I dared to dream every time. Just one of the all-time great WrestleMania main events, in my opinion. One of the great all-time stories that they ever pulled off in pro wrestling, which is the Mega Powers exploding. Along with that, you had Jake Roberts and Andre the Giant. You had Rick Rude beating the Ultimate Warrior for the IC Championship. Just some pretty cool stuff there. You had Mr. Perfect beating the Blue Blazer at WrestleMania. So some pretty cool things to check out there. That's definitely one of them. WrestleMania 12 is another one on my list. Of course, famous for the boyhood dream coming true, the Iron Man match between Shawn Michaels and Bret Hart. Do yourself a favor, if you haven't watched it in a while or ever, watch that match. It is a study in storytelling. It's not the high spot fest that you might see, you know, elsewhere today. It's a different kind of epic match, and it delivers, and they tell a great story. And so do yourself a favor, go back and enjoy that. It's not one that you can, sort of like Schindler's List or The Passion. It's so long, and it's not like a match that you can just put on every day and just, I'm going to watch the Iron Man match. But now that we're, you know, shelter in place, you have time, do yourself a favor and watch that. It also has, you know, the Hollywood Backlot Brawl with Goldust and Roddy Piper, and Undertaker versus Diesel. To that point, probably the Undertaker's best WrestleMania match. And then also from there, WrestleMania X7, Stone Cold and The Rock Part 2. You know, I mean, a lot of people say maybe top to bottom the best WrestleMania ever. And then the other one that has the argument for that, WrestleMania 19. You have Austin Rock 3. You have Shawn Michaels versus Chris Jericho. Brock Lesnar versus Kurt Angle. A lot of really good stuff on there as well. And then WrestleMania 21, one of the best matches you will ever see. It's not the main event, but Kurt Angle versus HBK from WrestleMania 21 is an all-time classic, no doubt about it. Also, you had Triple H losing to Batista in the main event at WrestleMania 21. You had John Cena beating JBL for the WWE Championship. So similar to the Ruthless Aggression docuseries we just watched, a lot of sort of changing of the guard there. You had Rey Mysterio and Eddie Guerrero, just lots of good stuff. Undertaker and Randy Orton, one of the great builds that really put over the Legend Killer gimmick and everything like that. I thought Randy Orton should have been the one to end the streak. That was a really, really cool feud. What do you got for people to watch?
I mean, for me, Jimbo, there's nothing like the first WrestleMania. I mean, that set the tone for where we're at right now. So to me, it's always very special. Just from a retro standpoint, Hulk Hogan, Mr. T versus Roddy Piper and Paul Orndorff, Muhammad Ali there as a special guest referee. It just, and by today's standards, it's very low key, but just what that first WrestleMania meant and what it symbolizes and how it really just jumpstarted the WWE to be the top promotion that it is now. And another one, obviously WrestleMania 3, obviously Hulk Hogan versus Andre the Giant. And that was such an important WrestleMania because I think it was one of the biggest anticipated matches to build for that. And like I said, it wasn't like some great, amazing wrestling performance per se, but just symbolically what that represented for the business at the time. And then and I'm glad you said WrestleMania 5, that one I had as well. Another one for me as a kid, I personally was a fan of. I know by today's standards, not the greatest wrestling match as well, but WrestleMania 6, Hulk Hogan is WWF champion versus Ultimate Warrior, who's the Intercontinental champion versus champion. Just that, the poster for that WrestleMania, the two of them.
The Ultimate Challenge. That was a great match. It was it was fun.
It was like as a kid seeing that poster, it's like two like real life superheroes over the top, just these big dudes. And you know, my brother was a Hulk Hogan fan. I was an Ultimate Warrior fan, so it was like our two favorites going at it. It was an amazing, just as for kids, that's something you can always argue in favor of WWE. They know how to cater to the kids out there. So just seeing that, I love that. So, there's so many we can go on.
Yeah.
I'm with you, 17 and 19 as well. And 14 when Austin won. There's so many great WrestleMania moments.
Absolutely. Well, enjoy our quarantine recommendations with the WrestleMania flavor.